Welcome to ChiroSecure's Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the Facebook Live show for successful women by successful women, proving once again women make it happen. Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. Now, join today's host, Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp, as she talks impact, exposure, and systems. And now, here's Dr. Nathalie.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp, and welcome to today's show for Empowering Women in Chiropractic, brought to you by ChiroSecure. Today, I have a guest, and it is a friend of mine, Dr. Debra Cirone. And what we're going to talk about with Debra is how we can nurture relationships in our practice, but also outside of our practice. So welcome to the show, Deb.
Thank you so much. So it's a pleasure to see you.
Awesome. So Deb, why don't you just bring us up to speed on, I know you practice in Atlanta, but tell us a little bit more about what your practice looks like and how you really been focusing more on developing those relationships in your practice and outside of your practice.
Sure. Well, I've been in practice for over 20 years with my husband, and from the very beginning, I got my fellowship with the ICPA. I knew immediately after being a chiropractic patient since the day I was born that kids and families were going to be my focus. So for many years, I took care of many kids and babies, mamas through their pregnancies. And what I began to notice over the years is that so many of us pediatric professionals are functioning as if we're on an island, and we know that there's other needs that these children have, but we don't always know who to turn to. Who the best person for the job is when we need to step outside of our scope or outside of the knowledge base that we have and need someone else to help care for those kids. And when it really came abundantly clear to me that I need other people to help with some of these kids and families is when I started to see a lot of these kids come in with neurological damage and developmental delays. I mean, I can't help a child. They are not holding their adjustments if they have a tongue tie that's severe enough that it needs to be surgically removed. So I started reaching out into the community and started asking some of my peers in pediatrics what they do and who they turn to. And the ball started rolling, and I started creating these relationships and realizing that what better outcomes we can get when we work together for the benefit of these children. And so we've been getting amazing results when we see the pediatric dentists, the doulas, the midwives, the chiropractors, the naturopaths, when we all come together and we can work as a community to help these children, we see really great things happen. Things that I couldn't get for some of these children with just chiropractic care.
All right. Well, for some of us that have been in practice for, 20 plus years like me, and people that have been in practice for less time, how do you suggest someone starts building those relationships? Because I know that this is one of your, big passion project with Dr. Jenna Davis as well, that you're trying to help other practitioners. So what would be, 3 or, 4 steps or 4 things that really made a difference to hopefully fast track increasing those relationships and developing this network of people that you can that are like-minded, or not completely like-minded, but like you said, that we do need on our team. So any insight on that, Debra?
Absolutely. So first of all, if you already have a practice and you have families in your practice, then the first place that you want to turn to is your mamas. Mamas already have the pediatricians for their kids, and you have those conversations with your moms to see what they're doing, and that'll give you a feel for how the pediatrician functions, the type of care that they're recommending for those children. So you can determine if that's somebody that you want to work with. And the same thing, gathering information from them about the midwives that they used, or the nurse practitioners, or if their child is having issues already before they walk in your door, what practitioners are they using? So you can start by reaching out there. Then if you hit a wall, or you're not gaining enough momentum with that, there are tons of spaces on Facebook, on social media, where we can find, if you go to some of these moms groups and join in and let them know what your agenda is, that you're looking to greater facilitate the needs of these children. Or if you're a parent yourself, then you can let them know that I am a parent that's interested in learning about what these moms are talking about on these groups. So there's breastfeeding groups, there's autism groups, there's MTHFR groups. There's a group for just about everything, tongue tie, lip tie groups. So you go on there and you join those groups, and on nearly every one of them, you're going to find a list of preferred providers. So you can just find those providers, look to see who they're using, what these other practitioners are that you feel you have a need for in your practice, and reach out to them. So not only do I do that, but I'll also go onto Google and I'll start looking in my area, somebody will drive 45 minutes or more to go get a procedure done that they go once or twice for. Of course, if they're going for regular chiropractic care, you want somebody that's closer in range. But for some of these practitioners, you can reach out a little farther. And I'll look at their reviews and I'll look at the comments. And then once I've gathered some of these names of these practitioners that I think I might want to have a relationship with, then I call them, or I have a staff member call them, and I invite them to lunch. So my advertising dollars are in the process of creating a relationship. So I'll take them to a nice place for lunch, and I'll sit down and I'll talk with them, and I'll talk with them about the type of practice I have and the type of practitioner I am. And I let them know in what way I feel I can benefit their practice just with the people that I have in mind. So remember, whether you're advertising to a potential patient or a potential provider that you can work with, you want to give them the benefits of working with you. So when you begin to talk with them about the types of patients that walk in your door and the people that need their type of help, now they begin to let their guard down, like, okay, she's not trying to sell me something. And so then you can begin to talk about what they can expect from you and what you expect from them. So oftentimes I found in the past, when I didn't have a relationship with another practitioner, and it didn't have to be in pediatrics, even with attorneys or with orthopedists, you send somebody out, they don't know who you are, and then you expect them to send them back to you, and the next thing you know, your patient's gone. So creating relationships, whether you're in pediatrics or personal injury or whatever facet of chiropractic you're in, creating the relationships is a massive thing. And then you can, even when you refer somebody to them, I would call them and say, listen, I'm sending little Johnny. These are the issues that he has. Tell me what you think when he gets there, or this is what I was thinking. And when they see that you are a responsible and intelligent practitioner, they're going to want to work with you, and they're going to want to refer people back to you. And if you find that they're not, let them know, hey, listen, these are the things that I deal with, not just the kids I've sent to you, but these are the different specialties that I have, or this is how chiropractic benefits the kids that you work with. If you find that a mom is open, let me show you how you can refer back to me. So we can co-manage these patients and we can work together. So the last thing that I would recommend is, so you find your practitioners, you make that lunch appointment or coffee appointment, whatever it is, just set some time where you can sit one-on-one with them, and then make some referral pads with your office name on them, and you give them to your doctors. Give them to your doctors with your pens, and then every so often reach out and let them know that you're there. My now I know we're chiropractors, but he would say, you never know how far a cup of coffee and a box of donuts will get you. And it's so true. He led by example, where he created amazing relationships, hanging out, having some good conversation, and just leaving them on a good note, remembering who you are. Wow, that's a great doc. That's somebody I want to get to know. That's somebody that I feel I can trust my patients with. So, we get those vibes from people. When you come in contact with somebody you can trust, right?
Well, I'm assuming if they say yes to go for coffee or for lunch, they're already pretty open. So what's the percentage, would you say, of let's say lunch dates being very successful and lunch dates, just being not successful?
All right. So I would say probably 90% of the practitioners will go to lunch with me.
Okay.
So the yes to the lunch is really high. And what I've also found by doing networking events is that they are excited. You can't even imagine. I've had people on the medical side. You would imagine, the midwives would be open to hanging with a chiropractor, or the doulas, or the therapists. They may be into us, but you would be amazed at the nurse midwives and the pediatricians and the pediatric dentists that come to these networking events that I have, and they're like, this is great. I've never had this before. Nobody's doing this. So they're waiting to find out who you are. So now when you sit down with them one-on-one and they realize that you're not trying to sell them, you're actually trying to make a difference, I would say the only time, I've never had a failure in a relationship, but I have had a lack of communication, just in the sense that they just kind of fall off to the side because I didn't keep a communication with them. So as soon as, and it may take more than one run-in with them and that's why I'm saying, bring them some cookies, bring them fruit baskets, bring their staff something that staff is a great motivator to their doctors or their practitioners to get them moving. But when you keep that line of communication open, send them an email now and then. If you have their phone number, send them a text, say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I have some patients that I'm thinking of sending to you. What do you think about this? Even just to reach out and ask them a professional question. Let them know that you value their knowledge. Mm-hmm. We all want to be elevated and lifted up and made to feel special. So let them feel special. Listen, they've earned their degree too. They have things that they can teach us that we don't know about.
Yeah. So you said, keep the communication open and co-manage. So do you write reports and updates? Like is the communication to that extent and detail when you start working with other practitioners?
Okay, so I do use a system where we do note taking, but I have to say I haven't even had anybody ask for it. Okay. So, you obviously, we're good practitioners, right? We want to keep good notes, and we want to be able to, well, here's the thing with relationships with your patients. Moms want what's best for their children. Moms will do anything to get those kiddos well. So when we can get on a deeper level than just the symptomatic level with these mamas, and we can show them, number one, the before and the after, or the process along the way of this child not only getting better from the symptoms, but all of the other things that she may have inadvertently told you, or that you dug deep into that you didn't think was an issue. You start saying, hey, look, did you notice you told me that he was only, look at these other things that are happening along the way. So what do you think will happen if we stop now? So whether it's keeping track of your goals with mom, or keeping track of that child's history, or the genetic history, or the mom's history, and the direction that we don't want that child to head down, when you can keep good notes, it elevates your status with any other practitioner, and it'll create better relationships with mom, because they'll begin to realize that they don't just need you for this issue that they showed up to take care of, but they actually need this as a lifestyle, because this child's going to continue to grow and develop, and they need help along the way.
So you briefly mentioned organizing event, and you and I saw each other over the weekend. So tell us what you mean when you organize event with different professionals, and what's your goal with what you have started, and talk to us a little bit more about that organization that you started.
Sure. So we've started the Kids Healthcare Alliance, and the goal of the Kids Healthcare Alliance is to teach other practitioners how to do what we're doing. We have these relationships, and I'm finding, we had to figure it out on our own, and a lot of people aren't thinking in that capacity or don't want to spend 20 years figuring it out. So the Kids Healthcare Alliance teaches practitioners how to grow their practices organically, how to create those relationships, how to collaborate with these other healthcare professionals, how to do different techniques outside of your scope of just understanding how to touch the spine and adjust. Right, how to work with those pediatric dentists with the tongue tie or the lip tie, or help the children to avoid having this surgery. So there's that line of where we need practitioners, and there's that other space where we can serve them well in our practice if we had more tools in our box. So creating better relationships to create better outcomes is what the goal is. So grassroots, what I'd like to see for these other chiropractors is to see you do exactly what I've done. So not only reaching out to the practitioners and having these one-on-ones, but gathering them all together as a group. I can't begin to tell you the faces, the comments, when they all start meeting each other, and where do you practice and what do you do? So I got MailChimp, and we sent out mass emails, and I went on all these Facebook pages and social media outlet. It was our Kids Healthcare Alliance networking event. I had food. We decorated. We had fun. All of my staff came. So if anybody had any problem mingling or getting to know one another, we made sure that there was somebody there to head them off the path and introduce one another. Before they came, I set up an Eventbrite page, and we invited them, and then I knew who was coming. So I looked them all up. I knew what they looked like. I knew what they practiced. So it was a great way to start cultivating a relationship with that person, even though you were in this big group. The other thing that I did was I created these envelopes with questions, business, and if you have difficult questions, to ask one another. So if you've ever been to some of these business networking events, they'll do some quirky little things to get you to get involved in other people's conversations and not feel weird if you don't know how to speak to start a conversation. So it was a tremendous success. It grew my email list even bigger. We're just so excited to be able to share this with people. And ultimately, we're working on our website right now. There will be a membership for all of the practitioners to learn, to do webinars, to turn to for studies and research. And on the other side of it, there will be a public side that parents can go to and have access to for free to find you.
That's awesome. And I know, pairing up with Dr. Jenna, who's in Canada and you're in the States, it's kind of nice because obviously each country and states and province is different. So having those resources are going to be great. So how can people find out more about the Alliance? Is there anything out there already?
So they can either find me on Facebook at the Kids Healthcare Alliance, or they can email me at kidshealthcarealliance@gmail.com, or they can find our website, kidshealthcarealliance.com, on the internet. Like I said, we're just getting this stuff rolling. There's very little that's on there, but the communication that I've been able to create with these organizations all over the world has been tremendous. So even though we're not on the forefront with our social media and our website yet, we are making leaps and bounds. So, anyone who's interested, text me, call me, you can email me or reach out on Facebook, and I would love to share with you my knowledge.
Yeah, thank you. So this is awesome information, and part of the Marketing and Practice Growth Summit that my partner and I did less than a month ago. We also interviewed Dr. Nicole Lindsay, who has a program for medical doctor. And, it just made me realize that having those conversations with the practitioners in your community that you may not think you have things in, common, or they won't be receptive, can be really surprising. So Deb, thank you so much for jumping in and giving us ideas of nurturing those things. And now with social media, you're so right that jumping on Facebook, belonging to other groups, especially if you yourself are parents, I think is a brilliant way to build those relationships. And creating events really helps to position yourself as an expert, and that people are looking up to, and those events can be really rewarding. So thank you so much, Deb.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So this was Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp for the Empowering Women in Chiropractic show, where for every show we're trying to bring on guests that can make us think in different ways, that can, trigger some new thinking on our part to help us be more successful in practice. Thank you so much to ChiroSecure for putting on the show. They are just awesome, because sometimes when you practice on your own, or even with an associate or two, it can feel lonely. So I just love getting on those or listening to those shows, because I always learn something. It always triggers, a thought for me and an idea that I can implement. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you got some great value, and get out there and go deepen those relationships in your community.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.